What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is Torrence here, and for the last tutorial of the year, I decided to go ahead and do a New Year's Eve tutorial. I'm going to be uploading this tutorial the day before New Year's Eve to give you all time to recreate it. And even if you don't have this particular palette, which is the Tati Beauty's Texture Neutrals Volume 1, I promise you, you probably have these shades in your collection if you have more than one neutral palette. All the shades that I'm using are neutral, except I do have a glitter here instead of an eyeshadow. But if you aren't comfortable with glitters, you can use any high shine full shadow that you like. I've had this palette for quite some time, but never quite knew exactly when I wanted to wear it. On my birthday, I was just having so much fun that I wanted to do something loud and bold. And I really did not want to go in with a brand new palette on my birthday. I wanted to do something that was sentimental. But for New Year's, you have to think about new opportunities, new journeys, and leaving behind all of the drama and things from the past. And I figured that's the perfect time to test out a new palette, because worst case scenario is if things don't work out, that gives me even more reason to party the night away and sweat that makeup off. But today, as you can see, things appear to be very beautiful, but this palette does not come without its issues. So if you would like to know how I achieved this look, as well as the pros and cons of this palette, just make sure you continue to watch. But before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're already subscribed, I would like to say thank you. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future uploads. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into this tutorial. Sis, let me tell you, Mariah's Cookies by Mariah Carey. Baby, I finally decided to try one. This lemon cooler. Sis, you gotta get you some. Lemon cookie with white chocolate chunks. I promise you, I'm ordering some out. But before we get into this tutorial, I gotta finish this cookie. I'll be right back. Now that I got through wiping crumbs off my face, it's time to get back to the business. And for my very last tutorial this year, I wanted to use a palette that I've been excited about all year, but never actually got the chance to use. And that palette has easily have to be the Texture Neutral Volume 1 by Tati Beauty. When I first seen this palette release, it sold out before I could get to it, and so I was so hurt, but on that relaunch, I had to have it. This is what the palette looks like outside of the packaging. The only thing that's different is the actual colors of the letters here. And when I first got mine, I was actually hurt because I thought mine came damaged and I thought I was going to have to send it back. So initially, I did not use it because I was waiting on the return label. But upon further inspection, I realized that although there was eyeshadow dust all over the package, it was only one shadow that had cracked and not completely shattered. And that was this matte black shade here down in the corner. I believe you can see that in the corner where a good chunk of it right there came off. It was all over the place, and I thought that entire shadow was gone. And with matte blacks being one of my favorites, I was not going to settle for that. Considering the fact it was sold out and it was just a chunk of that one shade, I decided to go ahead, take that L and go ahead and keep the palette. And by the time I realized, hey, you could go ahead and use it, I had already had many other palettes lined up to use on my channel, so I never actually got the chance to use it because I did not want to use it off camera. I wanted my very first time to be a first impressions for you all. And first off, I can tell you, the color layout of this palette is absolutely beautiful. I think the only thing I would have changed was the arrangement of the shadows. I personally would have lined up my neutrals lightest to darkest. I probably would have even switched this orange here so I can have this one, and then this one. And then I would have put my pops of colors, probably the orange, this shade here, and then the blacks all in one row just so I can make sure I go lightest to darkest going back this way. But the fact that we have everything lined up by color story so that you know no matter what row you go to, says if we go here, every color in this row contains the same shade, just in different formulas. This bottom row here contains the matte formula. This row here contains the sequin formula, which is matte with floating sparkles in it. This will come off more as a satin shadow than it would a matte. We have our metallic row here, which is the row I'm really looking forward to because to me, when you say metallic, I'm expecting a high shine. And our last row, we have glitters. I'm someone who absolutely loves glitters, but I can understand why many people don't. Technically, I don't believe there is anything such as an eye safe glitter. I believe any and all glitters have the chance to cause damage to the eye, but I'm someone who's been working with glitters so long that I feel safe and comfortable with using them. But I can understand why, no matter what the color story is, even if it's a shade they find beautiful, some people just truly do not use glitters under any circumstance. So for them, this will be 25% of the palette automatically gone. They just could not use it. There's no chance of having it there. But for me, I'm loving everything. And if this palette is as good as the reviews have been, honey, I cannot wait to get into it. But today I wanted to test out a look for New Year's Eve. I'm not 100% sure that this is the look I'm going to wear, but we're going to go ahead and test it out just to see. And because when I think of New Year's Eve, all I think of is that crystal ball dropping down. We want to try to get a look that's as sparkly as possible. So normally I would go into my crease with matte shades, but I think this time I'm going to stick more to these sequin shades just to get a more high shine full. But before we get into this look, I'm going to give you a more close-up look of the palette. And as you can see, this palette is beautiful, honey. Get into this. Instead of giving each shade a color, they have a name. Starting left to right with the blacks here, we have Memory. The next row is Ritual. We have Story, Soothe, Aurora, and Poet. And per usual, I'll leave all tools and products used in the description bar below so that if for any reason you want to follow this tutorial, you can. But we're going to go in with a transition shade. And like I said, I don't want to go in with straight matte shades because I want this look to be as sparkly as possible. So I think we're going to come over here to the color Soothe and come up here to the sequin color. And we're going to use that as a transition shade all over the eye. Alright, and the first thing we notice is there is a lot of kick up in the pan, like a lot of kick up. And that usually results in having a very blendable or very powdery shadow with no pigment. So I'm hoping for the first one. So we're going to go in and we'll both be able to see together what we get. And with that sequin color, the pigment is there, the blendability is there. And the one thing you're noticing, I'm not sure if it's coming off on camera, which I seriously doubt, but in person, those reflective particles are actually adhering, and it's not coming off as glittery or anything like that. It's actually just giving off the nicest, tiniest amount of shine, which is actually very beautiful. I know with most people, when this palette launched, you were actually truly excited for it or you were not here for it. The idea that a quarter of the shades were pressed glitters and another quarter were mattes with sparkles in it, that instantly is just two things that many people just stay away from. But with just that one layer, that is beautiful. Right here on the side where some of those particles have fallen, I can see them here. They're actually pretty too. It's something I can tell will probably, let me see. Yeah, and just by trying to wipe them off, I can tell this is something more than likely you're going to want to do your eye makeup first before your face makeup, because that did not just wipe straight away. But what we're going to go ahead and do is try to do a second layer of this, see if we can build up the pigmentation. And she builds up like a dream, honey. I want to make sure I get a lot of that product right here on the outer corner. I just usually have a little more problem and a little harder time building up right there just because that bone is in that area. But this color builds up very fast and very easily. No problem with building, no problem with blending. She's a dream, honey. Oh yeah, I'm about to hurry up, do that on the other side because this is beautiful. And I'm here to tell you, honey, that shade blended out like a dream. It builds, it blends. The color after you get through blending is absolutely beautiful. The main problem is that shade is powdery in the pan. It gives you a ton of kick up, but it coats the brush. It goes on beautifully. So more than likely, even if you're the type to go back in and pick up your kick up like I am, you're still going to be left with some product that more than likely you're just going to have to blow away. Next, I would like to deepen up my crease, and to do so, we're going to go in with this Ritual Sequin shade and a smaller blending brush. The beautiful thing about this shadow is it picks up just as beautifully as that last one, but it has even less kickback. I'll say less than half of the kickback of that Soothe shade. So I'm hoping it still has the pigmentation and the blendability of the first one, but even less waste. We're going to start this off over in the outer half of our crease, and although we are going to take it to the front half, we want to concentrate this on the outer half first, and once our brush starts to lose pigmentation, then we'll bring it over. Really want to make sure we focus on getting most of this color right here. Let it up and out. And once our brush seems to be losing color, we'll take that and just brush it all the way through. I want to make sure the outer half stays much darker than our inner half. So this is just one layer here, and I'm absolutely stunned by the pigmentation and the build on this. What we are going to do, just for dramatic effect, is we are going to go in and do one more layer, but we're going to stick that just on the outer half this time. I just wanted to make sure we had a seamless blend on this first layer. Again, starting right here on the outer half. And just blend it just on that outer half, starting right here at the outermost tip, and blend it into the center. Oop. And once we have our color pigmentation down, we can lift our brush up as high in the crease as we can to soften the edges of that. Alright, I am liking that. And if for any reason you notice, let's say you see a harsh line or anything that you want to soften up, you can always go back in with the previous brush with no extra product on it. Use that right there in that same area, and it'll make sure it helps soften things up even better. Just like that. I'm going to jump ahead, do the same thing on this eye, and I'll be right back. Alright, now that we have that much going on, what I want to do now is go in and fill up my outer V. We're going to use that same shade, the Sequin Ritual shade, except we're going to fill up the entire outer half of my lid. We're going to go in from the center and work our way back. And I'm just going to press this in place and try to get an opaque color. Just like that. This is where I'm experiencing the most fallout from those sparkles that are in this shade. Gonna do the same thing on the other side. Now to deepen up our crease for the last time, we're gonna go in with our memory shade in Sequin as well, and we're gonna use that to deepen up our outer V as well as the lowest part of our crease. Alright, and the funny thing about this is the black has the least amount of kick up of them all, but I'm hoping it is extremely pigmented because we need it for the outer corner of this look. So we're going to take our tiniest blending brush and we're going to start right here in the outermost tip, and we're just going to fill that up. We just want to make sure things are as black and opaque as possible up to the crease. And once we get that in there, we're going to just go ahead and take and lightly buff that out to the outer half, and that's it. And just to make sure things are softly blended out, we're going to go back in with the same brush we used for our ritual shade, and we're going to use that to just soften up the edges there. We just want to make sure there aren't any harsh lines. And I'll be back after I do the same on the other side. And normally when I would go in with the lid shade, I'm very prone to using a glitter adhesive just to make sure I get the absolute best color payoff. But with this palette, Tati kept bragging about how you can use these glitters without a primer and things. They adhere to the skin. And I'm someone who just really want to test that out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this shade here, Aurora. I'm going to use the glitter shade that's all the way here on the top. And we're going to press that across our lid using just our fingers. Now going in without a glitter adhesive means I won't have a very sharp and precise area that I'm going to put it in. I love doing that when I use a cut crease to make sure my shades go exactly where I want them. But with this being a very sparkly look, there is a chance that some glitter particles are going to float up. But honestly, I think as long as they still adhere to the lid, that'll be even prettier. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and take this shade Aurora here, and I'm going to test it out with one eye with my finger and the other eye with a silicone applicator just to see which one works better. Alright, and the one thing I can honestly say is, baby, it does pick up very well with the finger. Let's see if it applies that way. Okay, so far most of it's actually sticking. It's layering with the finger. Am I getting some fallout? Yes, but I was truly expecting that. Not nearly as much as I thought I would get. I want to just bring it up and all the way over. And I'm always big on making sure I get down to the lash line. Okay. She cute. Alright, we're going to test her out on the other side. Alright, now we got a silicone applicator with this side, and we're going to see what she do. And truth be told, I think when you first put it on, you get a richer color payoff, but it seems as if the glitter spreads further and easier with the finger than it does with the silicone applicator. So I'm going to have to test these out again with a glitter adhesive and see if that's the same thing. Just looking at the two of these, I'm honestly preferring it with a finger, so that's how we're going to go ahead and finish this look off. Okay, and now that I'm looking, I see what we have on the top of the eyes. What I want to do is go back in on this side and just add a little bit more matte, simply because I did take it a little too far on this side. So I want to see if I can add those colors back in. Oh, excuse me, I done caught the hiccups. I want to see really quickly if I can just bring that back and loosen that up a bit. I think that's about as close as we gonna get. We'll just touch it up on this side too, just to be fair. All right, and this is what I have now here. I think I'm rather satisfied with what we have going on. What I'm gonna go ahead and do is finish off the face, and I'll be back to show you how we'll finish off the eyes. Honey, get into this look. Let me tell you. I knew this was the first impressions with the eyeshadow palette, so I wanted to go ahead and try to throw in a couple other items that were first impressions as well. The first thing that I'm trying out for the first time is the Clinique Quick Liner for Eyes Intense. This is in the shade 01 Intense Black. Now, I know they call this Intense Black, but when I first picked it up, I'm like, is this a black or a dark blue? Because this looks like a dark blue container. Opened it up, looked at it, and once again, I said to myself, is this a black or a dark blue? Once I put this on, I am thoroughly convinced that this is a dark black with a blue undertone, because this just does not come off on the eye to me as just straight up black. I see the blue hue to it, and for that reason, it's just not something I would have worn for this particular look. It took forever to get it to build up to full opacity, simply because I was trying to build it up to that jet black. That just was not going to happen. But if for any reason I'm looking for a dark blue liner, guess I'll try them out for black. No ma'am. For the rest of the eyes, I had already tried these items. I absolutely love my Fenty Beauty Fly Liner in the shade Cause I'm Black. I went in and did just the smallest line to line my eyes and the tiniest wing. You notice the liner is hiding inside the eyeshadow just because I want that area to be a little darker. You're gonna have to be in conversation view more than likely to see that liner, but I just wanted something to accentuate my lashes without having to put on false lashes. So we pulled that out. For mascara, I'm just wearing my Essence Lash Princess. This tube is about to give out, so I just want to get as much use of it as I possibly can before it finally dries up. For blush, I'm wearing the Tom Ford Sheer Cheek Duo. This is in Paradise Lust. Although this compact does come with a highlighter and a blush, I'm only wearing the blush shade here on both cheeks. It's absolutely soft and beautiful, and I love the Tom Ford formula. But what I am wearing for the first time is the Natasha Denona Super Glow. And when I tell you, everybody I know have been bragging about this formula. I have it here in the shade 2 Light Medium. I picked up shades 2 and 3 just to make sure I got the right color, and I took back shade 3 without even trying it because I could just look at it and tell it was way too dark in the pan. I was honestly worried about whether shade 2 would be my skin tone, simply because to me it looks a little neutral to cool. It doesn't look quite as warm as what I would hope for, but I'm telling you, in person it looks beautiful, and on camera, honey, you see that like, it doesn't look glittery at all in person or on camera. It just looks like you have the most unrealistic shine. Like, honey, Mother Nature doesn't give it to you like that, but you know what? We not mad about it. Like, that thing there is stunning, and I can't believe I have not tried this even though I had it all year. The last thing on the lips is a first impressions. Although I've had these for quite a while in many different colors, I'm someone who tends to love just wearing my gloss and being out the door. So today I'm trying a lip combo from Juvia's Place. For the first time, I'm trying one of their Luxe liners. This is in the shade So Rare. This is the lightest, I believe, of their brown shades. So I have this on as a liner. I then went in and filled up my lips with their matte lipstick in the shade Libra. First of all, let's just get into this packaging. Juvia's Place knows how to kill it with that ombre. I am telling you, it is beautiful. And the thing I like most is the way that this bullet is shaped. This triangular shape here lets you go ahead, go straight into the middle lips and swipe left and right and get things full. But when it comes into not quite an absolute point, but it does come to a tip, it allows you to go up to the edge and go ahead and just line things and be good to go. This shade Libra here is the lightest that I have. I believe I also have a darker shade called Me that I haven't tried yet. And because I was happy with the color of that lip color, I didn't want to deepen it up. I went in with this lip gloss here in the shade Barely There. This is a nice creamy pink. And I just put that right there in the center of the lips, and I just blotted my lips. On the very corners, it's still matte just because I'd rather wait for the day to go through to let my gloss migrate out. I tend to find that if it goes directly to the edges, it stands a chance of settling when I'm wearing lipstick. So I just avoid that whole problem by putting it right there in the center. And as you can see, we have a nice glossy nude lip, and I am absolutely feeling her. But we are not through yet. We still have a little bit left to do on the eyes. For me personally, because I'm wearing black liner, I need a little bit more on my lower lash line to help blend and smoke things out. And because we're going on the lower lash line, we want to try to reduce fallout and things as much as possible because we already have our base makeup on. So we're going to skip the sequin row this time and go straight down to the mattes. And we're going to start off with the matte ritual shade, and we're going to use that to line our eyes. Then we're going to go in and buff that out with the matte soothe shade just to give us a seamless blend. First thing you notice, like there is no doubt about it, these matte shades do not have nearly as much kick up as those sequin shades. So off rip, I'm absolutely loving that. I'm gonna take this and just get as close to the lash line as I can and put an opaque dark brown line there. I'm gonna make sure we smoke this out for dramatic effect. And we want it to blend right into that black. And I'm gonna bring this up on the side so it connect with that eyeshadow there. Buff that out later with our pencil brush. We want to make sure this come up and create a sharp line. And you can fill in any spaces in between that. So when we buff it out, everything looks sharp. We're going to jump ahead, do this on the other side, and I'll be right back. Now that I've picked up the matte soothe shade on my pencil brush, I can tell you, same thing with the sequins. It seems like the lighter the shade is, the more kick up you're going to have. But these matte shades do not have nearly as much kick up as those sequins. So we're going to go ahead and use this and buff out that line that we put in on the lower lash line. Okay, this shade here does appear to be a little powdery. I'm noticing color flying off my brush, but it is helping blend and buff out this first shade like a dream. So you know what? We ain't even gonna be mad. Okay, those mattes seem to blend just as fast and just as easy as the sequins. Gonna do the other side just to make sure that wasn't a flick of the wrist. Alright, we have that going, we got that going. So now it is time to go in and do some brow bone and inner corner highlights. And so far we've played with 3 different finishes to make sure we got everything popping. So what I want to do is go up to this metallic row and pick 2 different colors so we can have as many different opinions as possible. So what I think I'm going to do is take the Soothe Metallic and use this as a brow bone highlight, and then go in with this Aurora Metallic on my inner eye corner. Alright, so we're going to go in and see. Now that's what I'm talking about, honey. I underestimated the power of the shine of that color, honey, and went in and got a little more than I bargained for. But she's beautiful and she's blending out, so we're going to go ahead and buff that out the way. We're going to do that on the other side. Now we're going to take this Aurora shade and we're going to pop this in the inner corner and see how much shine she's going to give us. And baby, that's what I'm talking about. I needed this to be the lightest color in the palette there. She did not disappoint at all. Now that we finished our makeup, it's time to go in and set everything, and you already know the routine. Fix Plus to give us a glowy dew. All-nighter so things last all day. Cheap Fan, Expensive Breeze, Good Times. And honey, for 2021, you know we trying to be blessed, so we're going to go ahead and use this fan for our last tutorial of the year. I'm going to give this a few more seconds to dry and I'll be back to give you all my final thoughts. And this is the final look. Want to go ahead, give you all a full face view of things before I give you all my final thoughts. And I'm here to tell you, honey, I love this look. It's absolutely beautiful in person and on camera. But this palette got some pros and cons. First off, let's get into the pros. 24 pans means you have a lot of different colors to choose from. So with that many shades, you should be able to create multiple looks. I don't care if you even pick up a monochromatic palette. When you are given 24 different colors, there's no reason I should look at a palette and go, oh, I can see 2 or 3 looks in that. No, I should see multiple. And with this palette, instantly you can see 6 looks. By just going row by row, you have this look, like you can truly see that there is a variety. Second thing is a variety of finishes. Not only do we have 6 different colors here, we have 4 different finishes. Matte, sequin, metallic, glitter. That's absolutely beautiful. Many people are only trying to find just a matte palette or just a matte and metallic palette. I'm someone who loves different finishes. Although I have hooded eyes, I don't have wrinkly eyelids or dry eyelids, so the more texture I can see on my eyes, the better for me. Another pro for this palette is the fact that these are self-adhering glitters. I am someone who absolutely loves my glitter adhesive for any and all shades. So the fact that I was able to apply this glitter with my fingers and it still hasn't cracked or creased yet lets me know if I put a glitter adhesive underneath it, it'll be even more pigmented, even more reflective, and it'll last even longer. So I think that's absolutely beautiful. The cons with this palette is 1, these sequin shades get particles everywhere. When I was first doing my makeup, the one thing I kept noticing is how much kick up I saw in the pan. And for me, that wasn't an issue at first because I always looked at it as on your other eye, you can go in and pick up the kick up that was left in the palette and use that for this eye. That wasn't the case. Even after doing so, there was still kick up left in the pan, which means every time I'm using this, more than likely I'm gonna have to blow that away, and that's just money in the trash. Have I ever hit pan on a complete eyeshadow? Not in my personal collection, but while freelancing, yes. So I'm not worried about actually running out of this product. It's just still, I don't want to have to go around wasting it. And with that fallout, like I said, if it had been just in the pan, that was one thing. But when I was doing my eyeshadow, I noticed I was getting fallout underneath my eye, and that was not something that was just wiping away. You will definitely have to either A, do your eye makeup first, or B, do your face makeup with some loose powder down to catch any of that. If that would have been the case, I'd have been good. The problem is, when I was doing my face makeup, as I was blending those sequin shades, not only was it falling and landing here, my entire forehead and the scarf I was wearing was covered in those microparticles from these sequin shades. I mean, absolutely covered in them. And because I knew going in I was going to be wearing glitters, I expect a little bit of mess. Because of my skill level, I'm usually not expecting any unless there's an accident. Say if I drop a jar of glitter, I know that's a mess that'll be there for quite a while. But considering the fact I was careful in my placement and I did everything right, there was no reason my forehead should have been covered like that. So for me, as someone who loves playing in makeup and who understands, I usually have a lot of brushes and a lot of things to clean up at the end of the day. I don't mind it because looking at this final eye look, honey, she is stunning. She is stunning. The looks you are going to get out of this is absolutely stunning. The problem is, it's going to be a huge mess on the way there. This palette here it got sparkles all over it, and this is my first time using it. My mirror right here on the side for my Just Come Rabbit mirror, it sparkles all over this thing here. My headband, everything is just covered in sparkles. But when I leave for the day, I know I'm going to be absolutely fabulous. So for me personally, I would say if you want this and you can find a way to avoid the sequin row, she's worth it. If you're someone who automatically goes in knowing you don't like glitters, there's no point in picking up this palette because to me, the sequin row can just be gone by. I love them, but to know that they're going to cause a mess every time I use it, I'm going to try them again. But if every look isn't as beautiful and as pretty as this, I'm not sure. So I would say If you're an influencer or if you're just worried about the final picture and the final look, get her. If you're someone who wants easy makeup, quick makeup, avoid her. Nope. This is for the girl with skills. This is for the girl with patience. This is for the girl who's taking pictures and showing out, which is why I'm showing you this look for New Year's Eve. Because even with the mask, honey, you going around like this, baby, everybody can still tell that's fabulous. You ain't got to see the rest of the face to know we looking good over here. But I'm telling you, if you like simple makeup, avoid her at all costs. Because I'm the one for glam and doing the most. I like her. I can honestly say I'm going to have to play with her a little bit more before they come out with the volume 2, before I decide to get that. But just based off what I've done now, in the future, I see me, one, using a glitter adhesive underneath the glitter shadows. And with these sequins, if for any reason I just want to do a matte look, more than likely I'll use the mattes in the crease. And I'll probably just pack these on the lids as a satin shade. I would more than likely use these sequin shades the same way I would use the metallics. Many people aren't a fan of very high shine full shades, so going in with one of these as a satin shade instead of a metallic may come off as beautiful. But in my opinion, I wouldn't let my sister buy it. No. If a makeup artist asks me, is this palette worth it? I'm going to tell them for editorial work. If you're just worried about getting that final picture and that final look, yes. If I want to consider the fact that you're going to have so much cleanup, so much fallout, so many issues getting there, no. My sister could never buy this palette with my recommendation. My best friend never could. A fellow makeup artist, a fellow photographer, a fellow YouTuber, yes. But other than that, she's beautiful. That much I'll give her. The color story is beautiful. The different textures you get is beautiful, but this is not for the everyday girl. That's just how I feel. And I hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you also leave me a comment down below if you've ever purchased anything from Tati Beauty. This is the one and only eyeshadow palette that they've released, but they've also released a sponge duo called the Blendiful. Right now, I'm not 100% sure I want to grab those because I have a bunch of powder puffs and a bunch of sponges, but I never thought of having one product that can do both. Usually if I need a sponge, then I'm not using a powder puff, but I'm going to give it a few more reviews and a little more time to see what they come out with to see if I want to grab that. But as of right now, I'm telling you, just looking right here in the camera, looking at the mirror right here in front of me, this eye look is absolutely beautiful. It's just, how can I put it? She like a bad child, honey. If she your child, you willing to deal with all the bull and you see the love and the beauty inside of it. If you're the neighbor, you just looking over there like they really deal with all of that for that. Oh no, it couldn't be me. But I'm here to tell you, I'm gonna try it out again. But the average everyday girl, I just don't see wanting to use this. And honey, I am feeling this Natasha Denona highlighter. Like, she got my skin popping. I even went in and just overdrew my top lip just the tiniest bit today. And I'm feeling that too, because I'm like, Torrence, look at you doing more new lipsticks nowadays. I promised myself I was going to get into more colorful lipsticks because I am a gloss person, but we got to go in with baby steps. So I'm about to go ahead and clean up, get everything going. I should be posting this video the day before New Year's Eve, just in case you all want to go ahead and recreate this look. You'll still have the day before to test it out. But I would really like to say thank you for the past year. You all have been nothing but amazing support over the past few months. My 1-year anniversary on YouTube will be coming up in February. And with the end of 2020 being right around the corner, it just amazes me at how much I've learned. When I first got on the platform, I'm telling you, honey, I knew nothing about editing. And it's just nice to see not only have I gotten better with my speed, I've also gotten a little better with my lighting. Everything isn't always 100%, but the support from you all always are. And once again, I just want to say thank you and I love you. And I can't wait to see what 2021 has in store for me as well as for you all. And I promise you all, I am going to be working so hard to get part 3 of my collections video up. I truly believe that is going to be the longest video of them all. And with part 2, there was just so many issues with getting it edited and uploaded. I'm telling you, it took over 6 hours to compress everything into one long clip. But you all are worth it, and I truly hope you all watch that video and comment on anything that you would like to see a tutorial on. I don't mind just playing in my makeup. Everything that I have more than likely has either been used or something else from the brand has been used, so I have an idea of what the formula is like. So I don't mind playing around. Whether it's neutrals or color, I just enjoy the journey. And I hope you all will continue down this path with me. But with nothing else, remember to practice, continue to stay blessed, and until 2021, goodbye YouTube.